So I get a lot of questions on the phone about, tips on how to sew leathers. So we'll start from the beginning. First things first, we want to make sure that our stitching is going to line up perfectly with the edge of the blade. And then we're going to come in and mark out exactly where our leather is going to start. What I have here is an 8-foot oar. An 8-foot oar is roughly going to start, or leather is going to start right around the 22-inch mark. We want you rowing about 5 inches down from there, because that's where the 7 to 18 leverage ratio, that's where that pivot point is. 7 parts inboard, 18 parts outboard. So we want you to have plenty of leather on either side. So that's where we're going to start. We mark it with a pencil. I'm going to come in, and in the leather kit itself, you would have been given a 13-inch chunk of leather that is 10 inches wide. So we're going to make sure it's nice and square first of all. Looks pretty good. We'll go with it. So then you're going to approach the oar, wrap the leather around the back side of the oar, flop the top over. Clamp it down with my fingers. I'm going to mark where the edge of the leather is, which is right about there. And then I'm going to come in roughly 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Because we have a tapered shaft here, we want to make sure that the leather itself is tapering the same. Now we're going to cut that taper. I'm going to make sure you cut the inside mark rather than the outside, because the outside will not give you any stretch at all. Nice sharp knife helps. We have a nice little jig here that's going to mark exactly where our holes are to be punched. You can mark it out with anything. Just mark in 1/8 of an inch or so and scribe a line with anything. We use our leather punch to scribe a line. Mark both edges, and then we mark the bottom edges as well, so that our holes, the holes that we punch, start in exactly the same place, so that our stitching ends up nice and even. So now I'm going to punch the holes. For this, we have an actual tool for this. An awl works good, so usually what I tell people. We like to punch our holes into a piece of spruce because we have it kicking around. Really, anything that's nice and soft is going to be beneficial, because you don't want the punch hitting up against a hard surface. Otherwise, you're going to kill your punch. The button material, in the end, is going to end up on the top, the grip end of the leather. So we want to make sure that we scuff up that leather a little bit. We use a little piece of 36 grit sandpaper, scuff up that edge so it adheres a little better. There's a lot of natural oils left in the leather, or from the tanning process, that make adhesives difficult on leather. I like to throw a little bit of contact cement underneath the leather. Just keeps it from sliding around too much. Not a whole lot. The stretch of the leather itself should keep it in place. So you want to line up your leather. Again, you want that stitching to be right on top of the oar, right in line with the blade. And come down here and just make it off in any way you can. The string dacron, it's a nylon treated dacron that's provided in the leather kit. Comes with a frayed end. You want to make sure you get in there and just trim them so that you've got a nice sharp end. And then much easier to put the needle on, of course. Through the outside, through the inside, and then from the opposite side, outside to the inside. Then we want to even up either end by taking both needles in one hand. A good pair of gloves helps. This can be painful. Always skipping the hole. Opposite. Go down 3 stitches. Come back for another. So this is the baseball stitch, or some might call it the herring stitch. Pull evenly with both hands. It's going to keep your stitch right in the center of the oar. Of course, it's going to be functional no matter what, no matter how good the stitch looks, but everyone likes a pretty set of oars. So after coming all the way down, you actually want to go back up, and we've finished off here. You want to come over the top, back through the outside of the leather. Always through the outside. To start out, you can continue to go all the way up just with one thread. However, it's kind of slow. So usually I'll use both hands. So to finish up, it's simple square knot. Trim it, being careful not to puncture the varnish. I usually knock down that knot and then take down the stitch just a little bit. Trying to get your needle marks out as well. And the button stock goes on. We've already cut a nice little nib scarf, if you will. And though it doesn't look very safe, I like to try and follow that scarf right on the oar. So having cut your button stock and fitted it out nicely, we would normally apply our buttons with contact cement. Contact cement works pretty well as long as you're not rowing up against the button. If you row up against the button, then it's just going to fall off. The button is there purely so that the oar does not slide out of the oar lock. So what you want to do is you want to coat all surfaces once. So I'll let this dry, come back 15 minutes, apply one more coat, let that tack up nicely, put the button on, and you should be good to go. Not too bad.